Hello and welcome. My name is Alice Bowl and I host the Scrap Happy membership group. You can find us at scraphappy.org. And today we are here for a happy at home session. It's a series that I'm doing on YouTube. You can actually catch all of the replays here on the Scrap Happy YouTube channel. And I would just like to welcome you. These are a chance to have a little bit of crafty exploration. Vicki is here. She says, "Hi everyone, I can't wait to see what surprises Alice has today. I have a really fun one." And it's something we've kind of referred to earlier on during this series. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we actually did this and made one of these? And so that's what we're going to do today. I think that you will love it. I am so excited to show you. So this is a technique that I learned quite some time ago. Like 12 plus years, maybe, something like that. It might be even more. Like, I'm trying to think, like 2010, maybe? Something like that. It could be earlier even. Like, it was a long time ago. But it is one of the coolest techniques. It's not something I do all the time, but when I do, it's really great. So now I've left you in suspense, right? It's like, what is it? What is it? Come on, Alice, get to it. We have been having a great time playing. Yesterday, we played with some acrylic ink or acrylic paints and some stencils, made some fabulous things. I'm going to show you what we're going to do today in just a second, but I have to show you a little recap of yesterday's creativity because it was so fun. So this was the first one that I made using the stencil with the acrylics, and I am so in love with that. That is going to be beautiful. Something based on time. I love the inclusion of the gears on that stencil, so that's going to be beautiful. And then we did one with a stencil from Scrapping Reflections, and that is this stars background. And we did a little bit of colored, like, ombre and the mixings and stuff, so that was really fun. And then since we had that stencil, we tried to get that paint to transfer over to the next paper. That was a major bust. It totally didn't work. Lauren says, "I loved yesterday's. It was so beautiful." So instead, what we end up doing is spraying through the stencil using a little bit of glimmer. No, it was Heidi Shine spray through the stencil, which was beautiful. And then, of course, all of that spray sits on top of the stencil. So we laid another piece of paper on top of it. And that created this more, you can see it's not like perfect. You can see all the imperfections, right? Because the spray kind of puddles on the stencil really differently. But then to finish it off, I put that stencil back on and added a little bit of this textural element that goes up here with a Vicki Boutin mixed media texture paste iridescent glitter. That was the stuff we played with. So that was super fun and pretty. I love that effect that stuff has. It was just like, it's subtle, but so beautiful. And then I'll tell you that I was like really inspired having that stuff sitting on my desk. So I kind of played a little bit longer yesterday, and I ended up creating this page here with my paints. I took some of my mint tape. Where's the mint tape? It's here on my desk somewhere. The mint tape from scrapbook.com, which is that low tack tape. So this kind of stuff. This is the unopened one because I can find that one here. But anyways, I laid that down in strips, and then I painted on either side of each of the strips. It worked so good. When I peeled it off, it was perfect. I've done stuff like that before with washi tape. It wasn't as perfect. It didn't peel off as nice. Some of the washi tape sometimes sticks. Sometimes it leaves a little bit of residue on your paper. This was awesome. So that tape was really nice. And then I went in with a stencil and I added the little arrows, the little triangles from one of my stencils. So that was extra fun. And then I just loved having all these different colors, and I started creating a fun little splotchy background. Not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. Okay, so that was a little bit of play from yesterday and my little after party, I guess, that I had by myself. Danielle says, "You're a master of backgrounds." I missed yesterday. Where did you get the star stencil? It's from scrappingreflections.com. So scrappingreflections.com. And yeah, it is one of my favorites. It is so beautiful. Oh, here's that mint tape. There. It's like a low tack, low stick tape. It's almost like post-it note kind of like texture. Yeah, super nice. So, okay, you didn't want to wait anymore. You want to know exactly what we're going to do today, right? Because this is all the fun. Well, I've showed you the layouts involving this month already, but I thought today we could do the card technique because it's quite simple. I'm making sure I have all my stuff here. I think I do. So this is a card, pretty little card. I've got a little bit of, this is an embossed leaf on here. There's actually another embossed leaf. So one is embossed with white, one is embossed with silver, which is pretty. And yeah, and so with this one, instead of opening the card, it says pull down there. So you pull the card and it actually pops up and down at the same time when you pull on the card. It's like, ta-da! So yeah, that is super cute, and I would love to teach you this technique. Exciting, right? So I have this sample. I've done another one here where you can like see another one. And I've taught this a few times. I think I have a video. I didn't find it. I'll confess. I forgot to go and find it. But I think I have a video, but we'll just do it today. I'll show you how easy it is, how much fun it is, and then you'll be able to play and make like super cool cards. Then you might be able to play and adapt that and turn that into layouts because I've done that before too. Okay, let's pick my chair up. I feel like I'm sitting down like at the little kids table, right? Lindsay says, "I'm super excited to learn about this." Thank you. I'm excited to teach you. So one thing I'm going to tell you right off the bat is we need a bad plastic bag. So the worse it is, the better this will work. So this is like a thicker plastic, and that's okay. But lighter, like if it's like ultra slippery when you like rub the plastic together, the slipperier the better. Like I think that Walmart has actually upped their plastic bag game. They used to be better than this. So I was like, oh, like Walmart bags used to work really great. I'm sure it will still work, but honestly, the slippery that plastic is, the better this will work. We need that for the magic. So if you have to find a plastic bag, you can do that. And we'll get on to some cutting directions. Now, the cutting directions are going to feel like they're complicated, but they're actually really simple, and there's not that many. So I am going to use my trimmer, and I'm also going to use a bone folder. I use the bone folder with the trimmer because I think that's just like the easiest way to do this. So there we go. So when we're making the card, I wanted the cards to be able to fit into a 4.5 by 5 and 4.25 by 5.5, a quarter fold envelope. One of the regular ones, you can buy them in bulk in this giant box at Staples or something. I buy those envelopes, so I wanted my cards, for the most part, to fit into those. I know slimlines are all the rage right now. Feel free to adapt the numbers to fit a slimline, and if you do, show me, tag me on Instagram. That would be super, super cool. Just a reminder, there's my Instagram, Alice Bull, so I would love to see that. But yeah, I wanted it to be able to fit into a regular envelope. It's a little narrower. I'm going to confess it's a little narrower than a quarter fold card, but it is the same height as a quarter fold card. So we're going to start with a piece of paper, and I'm going to move my plastic bags just off screen for a sec. And we're going to swap the screens. Ta-da! Okay, so that worked. I'm always relieved when it actually works. So to make these cards, can we see that? Why is it so dark? Seriously, there's so much light in this room. That camera is giving me a bit of a nightmare lately. It's being a pain. Okay, So we're going to take this paper, this is 12 by 12 paper, and I'm going to just cut off a strip that is 5.5 inches. So that is like one of the simplest things we can do is cut this strip. Now we're going to take the strip that's not 5.5 and put that one away. So we've got this 5.5 inch strip. Okay. Now we are going to be putting some score marks onto this paper. And we have to do 3 score marks. So we're going to start from the left side, and we're going to take my trimmer out of the way. So, like, I will confess that in the past, I have accidentally cut when I'm meaning to score, just because, you know, you're so used to using your trimmer, like line it up. Whoops. It's like, start again. Okay. So basically what we're going to do for this card is we're making the outside pocket. Okay. So we're making the outside pocket, but we're also making the inside mechanism at the same time. So we're being really sneaky here. Okay. So we're going to place this onto our trimmer so that we can score it. And we're going to score it like just under 3.5. So if you're technical, you can put it at 3.5 and then just go back like a 16th or something. Like, I mean, just under, like, just that little squeak under is perfect. So, so that would be 3 5/16, I think. Is that right? Or is that 7? What is that? Like, 4 or 7. 3 7/16. That makes mathematical sense. That's better. So just under 3.5. Okay. So we're just gonna score it. And then we are going to move the score line over to the 3.5. So we're going to go to the 3.5 and we're going to score it again. But this time it's actually at 3.5. So the first one's a little less than 3.5. The next one is right at 3.5. And then for the next one, we're going to go just a little bit more than 3.5. So we're going to move this over and go to the 3.5. And we're going to go like at that one little tick over, like one little 16th over. So 3 and let's see, 9/16. There we go. Math. We can do it. And we'll just score this here. Okay. Now you'll see there's extra piece. You want to know how big that is? You probably, somebody wants to know. I'm guaranteeing. It is 1.5. Okay. Don't worry about it. We're not cutting it off. We're just leaving it. It's all good. What we do have to do now is 2 cuts. They're really simple too. Like, you guys, we're going to be done this like so fast because this is literally how easy it is. Okay. Let's just have that coffee. I'm so excited to teach you this because I think it's just magic. Vicky says it looks bright enough for her. I know. I'm just like weird. It looks so shadowy down here. Strange. Okay. So back to that side that was just under the 3.5. We're going to be cutting a little bit of it away. Now, you're going to be asking me, what is a little bit? I'm sure you're going to ask me. Let's see. Let me throw a ruler in here. I should have pulled one of these apart and just, like, measured that part. I just said, cut some of it away. Mine is 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch? Yeah, looks like it's 1/2 inch. Is it just more than 1/2 inch? 3/4 inch. Let's do that. 3/4 inch. And so that's consistent. Yeah, 3/4 inch. So we're going to go in from the top here and we're going to move this over 3/4 inch. So, you know, when you have this same cutter, this makes it so easy. These are my favorite cutters. This is the titanium triple track. They actually cut pretty straight. And I love that you have a nice solid base on this side, but you have these extra little measurements over here, and I use those so much. So that was really good thinking. So I'm going to put it at the 3/4, and I'm just going to cut it to that fold line. Okay. We're just cutting it back to the fold line. So put the trimmer up at the top. We're cutting it back to that fold line so that it's right like that. Okay. That was simple. Now we're going to do the same on the other side of this. So I'm going to put this in at the 3/4, put this down, and I'm going to cut this back to that fold line. Okay. So now it looks like this. It's pretty simple. And then we are going to cut these little bits off. So just follow up the little scored line and cut off that little piece. And turn this one around and cut off this little piece. So I'm curious, Lindsay, have you actually done this? Did you take this class at Camp Cropin years ago? Because this is a class, so not the card version, I guess, but this is a class I took at Camp Cropin for a layout version. So, okay, so now we're gonna take this super cute thing that, you know, it's boring. It's not that cute. I get it. We're gonna fold this over, and I'm just gonna use my score. And then I'm going to fold this over, and I'm just going to use my score, my little, and then we're going to fold this one over. I'm just going to fold it back over here so that I can do a better fold on it. I think I might have to upgrade. You guys have seen those fancy new things. Okay, let's have a quick little discussion. Really quick. We're just going to have a quick discussion. Have you seen the other, you know, like, the silicone ones? Has anybody used them? They are so nice, but I'm like, $25, $20, $30, $50. I have seen these things for like, it's for like folding paper. I don't know. Like, so expensive. So I still have my old one. This one's from close to my heart. I actually bought like enough for my whole class to use back when I did classes here. And yeah, so do I really need to upgrade to one that was like Teflon, silicone, whatever they are? Like, they're like so smooth to use though. Tell me, if you have one of the new ones, is it totally worth it? Are you like so happy every time you have to, like, you know, fold some paper? Or are you like, yeah, I wasn't paying that either, Alice? So let me know. Just feel free to fill me in. Okay, so we have here our pieces. We need a couple more little pieces. We need 2 pieces of paper. So we're just going to set this aside. We did a good job. We need 2 more pieces. We're going to take that piece that we had here, and we need pieces that are 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to just take this and cut 3 1/4. And I'm going to take this and cut another 3 1/4. And then I'm going to take this and go 4 3/4. Is this right? I want to make sure that I'm right here. Yes. Okay. Let's like check really quick. I've got like written directions that I found in my drawer, and I'm like, oh, cool. This will be really fun. I'm glad that all the thinking is done for me already. So 4 3/4. We're going to put this into 4 3/4. And I'm going to trim that. Now I've got a little piece. And then I'm going to cut the other one also to the same size, 4 3/4. Now, there we go. That's almost all of the cutting that we have to do. Like, we've practically finished this already. I'm going to take the extra little pieces and just set those aside. I don't need those right now. We need to deal with one more thing. Yeah, Missy says I can't pay that much for a bone folder. Lynette says T. She doesn't have bus duty, so silicone bone folder. Are they silicone or Teflon? There's something like that. They cost a fortune, but they're amazing. Lindsay says she didn't take the class. Yeah, so cool. Like, it is so cool. It was a cool class. It was not my first choice. I was like disappointed when I signed up for the class, and then we got to the class, found out what it was, and I'm like, best classes ever. Yeah, I can't pay that much for a bone folder. I know, I just couldn't. I'm like, maybe it'd be worth it. Like, they do slide nice, but yeah, the price tag. Okay, seriously. Now we're going to go back to that little plastic bag that we took out, right? We got this plastic bag out. We need a piece of the plastic bag that will be long enough. I said long really weird there. That was like weird. Long enough to fit over top of this short end, right? The little end that we cut. This is going to wrap around this with a little bit of overlap so we can tape it in place. So we need it to be at least narrower than 3 1/4, because that's about just, well, yeah, about 3. Let's make it 3 or less. Maybe 2.5 is even fine. And then it has to be long enough. So what I've done in the past is I've cut my bag open. Cut my bag open so that you can kind of access part of it. You want to make sure that it's going to be a long enough piece of it. It's not too hard with this. It's not that long. And you want no seams in the part that you're going to use. It's going to have folds. It's going to have crinkles. It's totally fine. But you just don't want to have any seams or like joined bits, right? Like you want it to be the seam-free part. Now, apparently I left that handle attached. So I'm just kind of cutting it until I can take this piece and put this into my trimmer. You see, I've made it too big still because that's not going to fit into my trimmer. Okay, doesn't have to be too straight yet. We're not worried about that. And I used to not even worry about them being too straight at all. And then I learned it helps a little bit if they're straighter. So we're going to put this into the trimmer. Your trimmer will cut this, no problem. So there we go. And now I want a piece that's going to be less than 3 inches. So I'm going to try to turn it around here. Good luck with that. Just flying all over the place. And then I'm going to put it to less than 3 inches. Maybe even like 2 3/4. That's about good. I'm going to stick that down. Is that about right? There we go. And then I'm going to trim that off. Now, out of one plastic bag, you can get quite a few pieces once you see what we're doing with them. But I just need one piece. It's a plastic bag. If you can't get plastic bags where you live, there's probably other forms of plastic that you can use for this, but it definitely works best if you can get a plastic bag. Let me know if you don't have access to those kind of plastic bags because they don't use them where you live. And then maybe we can like brainstorm a little solution for you. It's like, hey, well, maybe you can use this. Maybe you can use packaging from that. I don't know. Okay. So now we have this little strip. This is literally, that was the most complicated part of this whole thing. I know what I didn't grab. Oh, I can use it with this other tape. That's going to be fine. I'm going to use my paper tape for this. If you have red line tape, you can use red line tape for this as well. But paper tape should work just fine too. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this little plastic strip and we are going to wrap it over top of our thing, of our piece. Now, you want this end piece to be nice and straight. Cut with scissors, like, is fine, but like cut it nice and straight across so that it's pretty smooth, right? You don't want to have too many lumps and bumps in it. It's not going to be a big deal, but just make it fairly smooth. And now you're going to wrap this piece up to here and it's going to cover it over. You don't want it to be so tight that it can't move, but you also don't want it to be so loose. Like you don't want it to be loose like this, right? Like that would be too loose. And you don't want to like have it pulled so tight that it's like trying to tear the plastic. Okay, so that firm close, but not like too tight. So are we on the same wavelength there? Now you're gonna put your tape along this, and you'll notice that because we cut this with a trimmer, they're exactly the same like widths, like both ends of them, so that makes that strip a little bit easier. If you don't cut it very perfectly, they can be a little bit less movable. Okay, so I'm going to put the paper tape right along here. I'm just going to kind of push it down and burnish it down onto the thing. You could like, you know, if you really want to try burnishing it, blah, 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 use your bone folder. I think that's like that's over a step that I wouldn't even go to, right? Now, we're going to take this little tape bit off of here. There we go. Now I'm trying to make it careful. And I'm trying to hold this so that it's going to be, like I said, tight enough, but not too tight. And look, I'm already messing it up. So this is the hardest part. Once we tackle this part, we're good. So we got it tight enough, but not too tight. So does it move? Okay, so you can see it moving. As the card gets put together, it moves a little bit easier. Now we're gonna take the leftover bit, you see this leftover little strip here, and we're just gonna trim this off. Now, if you're joining us late, we are making the coolest card that I've ever done. And it's called a push me, pull me. This tech is called a push me, pull me. So we're gonna pull and we're going to push, and it makes magic because it pops out the top and the bottom. So you'll be able to go back in this recording and get all of the directions. So we're gonna burnish this down. So that looks good. Now, to make the magic, this is going to fold into here, this is going to fold into here, and this is going to fold over the back. All right? Just trust me, you're going to want to fold it over the back. So when we have our pieces, we now need to adhere a piece that's going to pop up and a piece that's going to pop down. My rule of thumb for this, because we're going to take these pieces, right? And one of them is going to attach here, so it will fold down, and one will attach on the other side, so it will fold up. My trick that I like to do to make sure that my seams always work is to roll my plastic where I put my seam near the top. Okay? Joy says, hi ladies, April has gotten away from me, but she's finally able to join me. We are making the coolest card, Joyce, so check it out. And we're actually almost done, so we're going to take another piece of our paper tape or red line tape. If you're doing a scrapbook page, use the red line tape just because you know it holds stuff that much better, right? But for this card, this should be fine. Have I done it with tape runner? Probably, but I wouldn't choose that as my adhesive. And I definitely wouldn't use liquid because, you know, that plastic, that would be a bad situation. Okay, so we're going to put this up to the top right now. The way we're holding it, it's at the top. And we're going to be attaching this piece, making sure this is kind of centered on this part, right? So we're going to kind of center it on that part. And then we're going to take that tape off in a moment. And we're going to put this on here and line that up. And you'll notice perfectly lined up. How lovely is that? Oh, I do have to grab one small thing. It's just right here. It's all good. If you don't have one of these, you can do it without, but you know, it's just cute with. So, so what we're going to do before we, no, that's fine. We'll do that after. Okay. So now we're going to take this tape off. And we're going to attach this paper. Now we're going to line the paper up to the top of this other paper, and we're going to center it. So I'm getting my head in the way. I'm sorry, that's where it is. Now we're going to flip this right over, and we're going to attach it on this side with this one to the bottom. Okay, so this one's going to attach to the bottom. So we're going to take our tape here and put it along this bottom part of the strip. Burnish it down a little bit, get it to stick good to that plastic. Pull that piece off, and we're gonna stick this one, line it back up, and make sure it's straight, and attach that one there. So now we've got the mechanism of this card actually built. You wanna see? Okay, so I'm gonna just take this, I'm gonna fold this in, I'm gonna fold this in, and I'm gonna just grab inside here, because right now we haven't left a little knob, and that's what we're gonna do next. So now you can pull this, and it will pop up and down. Pulling on. Oh, I was grabbing two layers. So it's gonna pull up and down. Here we go. So the mechanism right now doesn't work so good. It's not super easy, but it will work. It's moving up and down. Okay, so it slides. We know that it works. It's good. There's nothing, no extra adhesive getting in the way. Okay, now we're gonna fold this one back out, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold this fold together really quick, okay? Now in the center of that fold, you know, it's 3.5 inches, so at the center of 3.5 is 1 3/4. I'm just gonna put a little quick mark at 1 and, is that right? 1 3.5, 1.5, 1 3/4 is 1 3/4. Okay, so I put a little tiny mark right there. I've got my mechanism hanging at the side, and I am just going to put a little half circle where I drew that little mark. Okay, so I'm just going to cut through 2 layers, right? I'm cutting through the front and the back at the same time. It hit me in that face. My cutter doesn't like to cut through 2 layers. If yours won't cut through 2, you can do one and then the other. Like, that's totally fine, but I just forced it. It's all good. Okay, now we're gonna now when we close this up, this will work a little easier. Now when we close this up, we'll have this piece, and why is it not sliding? Okay, it'll be fine. It does work. Okay, it just needs more structure and support, and it should do it here. Now, one thing, because I've cut my little piece, this little piece is a little overhanging, so I'm just going to cut a little extra off of here, and that's going to be okay. So now, when we close this card, now it will... Why is this being such a nightmare? This bag is not nearly as slippery. Old Walmart bags. The crappier Walmart bags were better, guys. But they will work. So if you're having problems, here's another thing you can do. You can take your little chalk bag and that you use for your embossing, and then we can add a little chalk in here, and that'll help make it slide better. Okay, we're gonna do this right now, right? It's gonna just work this time. Why? Why is it being such a bear? I've never had one stick so bad. Okay. It's sliding, it's moving, sliding, it's moving. Is it my paper? Doesn't like my paper? I've literally never had one that didn't slide. And we've cut, oh, this edge is kind of dragging along the side. Slide this over a little. Okay, well, what have I done here? This was working so good, and now this is just not sliding nice. Okay, so it slides, it wraps, and it doesn't slide. Okay, well, I'm super frustrated because like this normally works so smooth. I'm so frustrated, and I'm scared to close it up and not have it close and not have it work because it's just not sliding. Okay, well, I'm gonna try a different piece of closure and see if my bag is the problem, if it's just too tight. Maybe I'll just cut like a little smidge off of this. Maybe I made the bag too tight around it. I'm just gonna cut a tiny little piece off of there. Because if I made that too tight, then maybe it isn't sliding nice. Let's slip that back in. And There we go. I guess we'll do troubleshooting on the Push Me Pull Me card today, which shouldn't be hard and should just work. There's like nothing catching, so it's sliding. Oh my gosh. Now this is feeling like a major fail, and it should just work. Okay, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Like, this has never been a problem before for when I'm putting together these cards. They just worked so seamlessly. And this slides just fine right now, but as soon as I've wrapped it, maybe I'll put a little extra space in my corner here. I'll add another little crease line here and see if I can give it a little space. Maybe it just needs a little more room. Okay. Tell me that was it. Yeah, it's just that mechanism just isn't sliding nice. Okay, so now it's at least sliding, but it is not liking it. This is like the worst one I've ever made. And I did it for you live. Aren't you excited? I'm so sorry. Like, this is the worst one I've done. And they're so cute. And like, I've never had issues. I'm just like looking to see like what could it possibly have been. And I've got the adhesive all in the right place on this. So it is sliding properly. We can test that and see that here, that it slides properly. When I flip it over the first time, we're still sliding properly. And when I pop it over this time, it's catching. Why is it catching on there? The thing is, like, that taped section doesn't move anywhere. Like, the tape stays underneath that one section, which is why we double up the tape in that one spot. Something it's in, like when I fold that over, it's really not liking that. So I'm gonna put another little fold on that part right here too. I'm gonna put another little crease there. It just might be too tight. Maybe I didn't go over and under my measurements as much as I needed to. Okay, just put that fold in here. Give it that little bit of extra space. That's what I did. Thank you. Donna says it maybe was a fold line. So it was my first fold. I didn't give myself enough space, like right in here, and I just didn't have enough space, so it was catching. And now it works perfectly. Ta-da! The magic. The magic. So make sure when you're doing your over and unders that you give yourself enough space on your over and unders. So I can't believe I didn't have enough room right in there. It was just catching. Okay, so now to finish up the card, you just take your paper tape, and I'm going to put it along this side right here to close this card up. So that's going to close the card, and then you can just decorate your card. If you like to have, if you don't want like the seam to show on the back of your card so that it looks like all covered, you can cut a piece of paper that covers the back of your card, kind of like I did on this one. And look at the magic. Now, how come that couldn't have just happened? I tell you, I was getting a little stressed. I'm like, these work. I swear they do. I thought it might be fun to kind of take one of my poppies that I had made this week and cut one of these out to stick onto this card. I think I'll have to have just part of it showing onto the card But I think that's what I'm going to do is cut out one of my poppies that I did earlier. Add some white crayon. Yeah, it was just that I had the, it was just a little too tight in that fold. So what I've done is just put a double seam in on those two sides. I've kind of double seamed them a little bit, and now it slides perfect. You shouldn't even have to do that. I've never had to do that before. They just work. So do what Alice does, but just do it a little bit better. That's all I'll say there. So I'm going to fussy cut this flower out. You know, favorite thing to do in life, fussy cutting. And then it's going to be fine. So I'm just doing a rough cut first for around these leaves, and then I can go in and get the details around the leaves. So let's cut the little parts. I'm not a big fan of fussy cutting. I don't find it relaxing. I'm like, ugh, can it just be done already? But that's okay. If you find it relaxing, then I'm glad, because like somebody should enjoy it, right? Okay, so we're gonna get this cut out. That's, the side is nearly done. And then we can attach this, attach a sentiment, and then what I like to do is have something fun on the inside. So like on this one, it says thinking of you, but that's like inside the card and ready to pop out. I really thought I was like solving the problem when I remembered that you can use the little baggie. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. This will totally fix it. Yep. So had that been a video moment, you might never have seen that little glitch, but a recorded video in the live, you get all that joy of seeing Alice's frustration level rise. And so here we have pretty little flower. Now I might take a little like bit of color and apply this to the background here too. That would be pretty, right? With a little bit of a blender brush or something, so that I'm not doing like stamping. If you want to be able to do stamping and stuff onto your actual card, you would have to either put it onto another piece of paper, just because you're going to have too much stuff. Debbie is the best at it. Do as I say, not as I do. Only friends are allowed to do stuff like that. It's like, here's the shade. I love it. Okay, so I'm glad I figured that out. Like, but oh, that was like stressing. Yeah, but now it works great. So see, I did know what I was talking about. Okay, this looks good. Now I'm gonna apply it over here on this side. Now, as long as I like right now, the width of the card is around 3.5 inches wide, right? And a quarter fold card is 4 1/4. So when you normally when you apply stuff and it hangs over a card like this, if you have stuff that overhangs, when you go try to pop it into your envelope, it's not going to fit. But on this card, it will totally fit, because your envelope has a little bit of extra wiggle room. So now I can pull this. Oh, look at how cute it is. And I'll apply this on here. I'm going to add a little bit of color on the background with a blender brush and a color. And let's just test it off a little bit to make sure that I've got good color. Some of this one too. So these are my Concord and 9th. This one here is Aqua Sky. This one here is Sea Glass. I'm gonna blend from the Aqua Sky down into a Sea Glass, just for like a subtle little background here. You'll get more of it at the fold lines there where I've got the folds, but that's okay. I can hear my roosters crowing outside. I don't know if you ever get to hear some of that, but one day they'll come right by the window and you will not be able to miss them. They make themselves heard. Okay, so that's some aqua sky, and then I'm gonna blend right down into the sea glass down here, just to kind of create a little subtle thing. And you know, I would like to do a stamped little greeting, which I could also add to this. Okay, so that makes a nice little subtle background. And those two colors together, so pretty. Now you can see I've got like a little darker spot right there, but like this is gonna go over it. It won't matter. You know, so if you're looking at your blending, you're like, it's imperfect. It's all good. Yeah, I'm behind live, but your slides are really great. Lindsay did this and she said hers worked. It's just not going back in as well. So as long as when you're applying your adhesive, you do it at the top and then you layer your next layer over, because that piece pulls down and goes back up to the top. It's never going around the top edge. That's something that you definitely want to be able to avoid, which is why when we did the adhesive part, we stuck the adhesive near the top when we attached that first card. And then when you flip it over, it's just going to be staying there. Okay, so that's really cute. I need a little bit of foam tape. Do I have any left? I am so running out of foam tape. Look at this. I think, oh, I bought some more from scrapbook.com, so I'm good. Somebody asked earlier, the mint tape. The mint tape is from scrapbook.com. Just go to scrapbook.com and you can find the mint tape. And if you're going to be shopping there, this is my affiliate link. I'll just post that up down here. So if you use that before you go shopping there, then they give me a little bit of a little gift in return. So thank you so much if you decide to use that. But yeah, their mint tape is nice. It feels like the consistency of a sticky note, and it worked really good for that one layout that I made there yesterday, or the background that I made, because it's technically not a layout yet, but it will be. We'll turn it into a lovely layout. Now, just try to get all of the little tiny little bits that are needing to be popped up here. Support on my stem a little bit. And then I can support the head of my flower with just a couple pop dots. And if you like stamping onto here with the layers, it can feel a little bit weird. So you might not want to stamp right on there. And so you can, you know, just make like a little extra piece that you stick on. Vicky says she did this in a scrapbook to make a cascading slide for pictures. It was so long ago, I forgot how I did it. Now this is great because she can make a card too. It's exactly the same technique. You just have to use different sizes for your base, Vicky. So it is exactly the same technique. As a Scrap Happy member, you probably have access to the proper full video that teaches the scrapbook one as well. So you would go to, good question. Where is it? I will look for real. I will look for real. But you can definitely do this with a card, like for a layout. So we'll pop that up onto here. I've got that little bit of overage, but that's totally okay because my card envelope will allow me the extra space. Looks like I missed a little piece here when I was fussy cutting, doing such a great job fussy cutting. And then I can add a lovely little sentiment on here. And then I can hide some extra sentiment here. And I find that when you put the little notch in here, then it intrinsically makes people want to pull that, right? You can write pull right on it to be like super obvious. Super obvious is sometimes good. But by having that little notch, it helps to kind of give them that little heads up that that's where you're going to be pulling on there. So I don't have my sentiment stamps. What do I have? What is at an arm's best? Love you. This way is best ever. I don't know. They're not speaking to me. Okay, so I'll put a sentiment on it at some point. But that is the push me pull me card technique. And of course, like, you can color these inside. You could do different colors of paper inside if you wanted that to pop up. You can do so many different things with it. As I showed before, I've got this card here with the leaves on the front. This one has been covered in silver foil, and then I kind of cut the leaf detail into it. There's a little bit of embossed paper in the background because adding a little extra texture. Anything you're adding to the outside, if you're adding layers, they're not going to interfere with your mechanism once you have your mechanism going. So here, I used colored paper. You just want it to be a heavy enough cardstock that it will hold its shape well enough. The Close to My Heart is a fairly thin cardstock, and it works. If you use something that's a little bit thicker, it probably will hold up and slide even nicer and move a little bit better. Here, this one I did with a different color. This one has been in my stash for a while. You can see myself got some fade on the top of that card. It's been sitting in a box. And but you can see like the simple decorations that I did here. This is like hand cut circles, misted with a little bit of water and scrunched up to give you like that little crunchy flavor with a little bit of sanding on top of the paper. So to give a little bit of distressing, got a little bit of ribbon tied right around the paper, right? Like you can tie it right around the front and back. Now, obviously, you don't want people to be like thinking, oh, I have to unwrap this to open it, you know? So maybe if you're doing something like that, you want to like make sure that your little pull spot is obvious. On this one, you can see I've actually put a little polka dot for the pull so that it says happy birthday once you pull on that little spot. I don't know, just fun ideas for dressing up that technique and playing with that card. Okay. Are there any questions? Do you have questions about how to put this together? I'll tell you what I'll do is I will make my direction sheet be a little bit more legible, and I will post this in a blog post. Don't promise it today, but I will post this in a blog post, and I'll let you know next week when I get it put up so that I can link the blog post here with the actual cutting directions as well. Sonia says, I'm with you on the fussy cutting, Alice. I almost always love the result, though. Boy, do I resent having to cut it. Yes! Wait, you get it, I get it. Like, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do. But, yeah, so fun. So there we go. That's what I'll promise to do is I'll post up the cutting directions just in case you're like, Alice, that went a little fast, or I didn't have time to cut as we went, or I came here a little bit late and I missed the beginning. But this is the push me, pull me card. Hopefully that is like a super fun idea. If you wanted to add photos or something to this, you can totally do that too. Just make sure that you're adding your stuff so that you're not going to be interfering with your mechanisms in any way, right? You want to make sure that you're not interfering with your mechanisms. Okay, well, that was it for today. I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your patience when things got a little bit iffy there. Um, and I hope that this will help you be a little bit happier at home. If you make one of these, please post it and let me know. I would love to see. You can share it, tag me on Instagram and say, Alice, I did the thing. I would love to see your version of this card, or if you like make the jump and turn it into a scrapbook page, because that is possible too. I would love to see that. Don't forget, if you are shopping at scrapbook.com, that's my affiliate link down there. So that is what you can use if, and it helps to support me. And I do different things. So you can actually sign up for my email list here at scraphappy.org/subscribe. I do send out a Friday 5 email, and I put some fun things into that. So mine has not gone out yet today. So if you have time, if you sign up now, there's time. Happy accident. Now that I've added the extra score line, it looks like a cute little slim box. Yeah, this has like a little bit of dimension to it. I just don't like making it too thick to go into an envelope, right? That's my that's always the trade-off, right? It's don't make it too thick. You want it to fit in the envelope. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I will be back next week. We meet at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, weekdays this month, and work on a creative technique that will hopefully make you a little happier at home. Bye, everyone. And thank you. Thank you. I messed it up on final time. That's hilarious. Bye.